What is going on, Gunners? Chisgule here, and today we're going to rank every single epic commander, put them in a list, and compare across every single activity you might want to do with that commander in Rise of Kingdoms. If you like guides where we help you figure out what commander to invest in, you should definitely like and subscribe because we're pretty serious about that here, and we are a sponsored creator with Rise of Kingdoms. So what I'll show over my head is a tier list that we put together in a stream recently. Card will be up in the top if you want to see the full 2.5 hours of logic. Well, we broke this bad boy down, ranking every legendary and epic commander, and we ranked them on the same scale. Is this perfect? Probably not, but it's close enough to be pretty darn effective in helping you figure out which commander you should be investing in at this moment in time. Now, what we're going to do is give you a quick overview of how this system works, how the letter rankings work, and then we're going to review category by category who we thought some of the best commanders ultimately were. Now, the categories we look at are an overall rating, city defense, barbarians and forts, the open field, rallying cities, and rallying and defending objectives. Objectives are flags, passes, center fortresses, holy sites, structures in Ark of Osiris, those sorts of things. Now, the rating system, which we'll put on the screen momentarily, is as follows. The S tier stands for Savage, the absolute very best. That tier, or that award, went primarily to the legendary commanders. In the A category, that represents absolutely use this commander. B stands for better than most. C stands for could be better, probably use a different commander. D means don't use this commander, and F means freaking don't use this commander. The plus or minus helps us slightly differentiate within B or C or A so that we get a better understanding of exactly where they might fall relative to some of the other commanders in the list. Now, you'll notice for the overall rating, we have Pelagius and Ulji Mundok, as well as Sun Tzu and Kusunoki at the top of the list at a B-. They are all good at city defense and did other things well, and that is what propelled them near the top of the list. What I'd like to mention is that you really shouldn't make a choice here based on which commander has got the best overall rating. You should choose one that's good in the thing you really want to be doing. And the thing where epic commanders can hold their own is in city defense, barbarian forts, and a smidge of the open field. So let's start to go category by category and break down which commanders we think are the best. Now, Pelagius is an exceptional commander. He's got the garrison skill tree, which is the garrison talent tree, which is absolutely crucial if you're defending your city. And the garrison talents are really quite good. Overall, Pelagius, exceptional against a rally, highly recommend for city defense. In a similar vein, Sun Tzu, phenomenal for city defense and can generate a ton of rage, does AoE. The AoE is good for protecting against a swarm, and that, my friends, is something I personally have used in conjunction with none other than Kusunoki, who also has garrison skills and is really, really strong with AoE and clearing debuffs from you, which is really underrated in my opinion. Up next is Ulji Mundok, who is good in part because not only do they have garrison talents, but in addition, they have the attack tree, and within the attack tree, they have Lord of War, which is just insanely strong and effortless. So if you're up against a rally, you're in a really good situation if you have Ulji on the wall. Effortless over time makes it so that you get your damage increased pretty substantially to a maximum of 10%. 3 talent points for 10% attack, or I guess it's 10% damage. Wow. Yeah, that's just quite good. Quite good. Advancing now to the Barbarians and Forts category, there were 3 commanders that really stood above the rest, and of course they're all peacekeepers. That includes Boudica, who really is quite good at forts and barbarians in the open field. Belisarius, who So yeah, he's up near the top for me. Belisarius, who also does extra damage to barbarians and neutral units and is very, very speedy, which makes it so you can go around cleaning up those barbarians around the map really, really easily. Lastly, Lohar, really great for sustain, great for running around the map and granting you a ton of experience. In the next category, for open field, there were two commanders that stood out above the rest, and we'll give an honorable mention for a third commander. The two that stood out above the rest were Baibars, who, by the way, gives a whole bunch of movement speed when you leave battle, which is really good. Healing and movement speed when you leave battle, very, very important. They have AoE, very, very important. They're also reducing march speed, controlling enemies. Love everything that's happening with Baibars. I tied Baibars with Joan of Arc at a B plus rating. And that is because Joan of Arc offers so much utility to the friends that are around you. I mean, this is a commander you really want to have in the open field if you're not the alpha player or even near the top for power within your alliance. Giving those players the 30% of each stat is, or 30% stat to each unit is just totally nuts. In addition to the rage generation, I mean, this is just a great, great commander to use in the open field. Not so good for dueling, but really great for supporting in a big, big group, which, by the way, is what happens in Ark of Osiris. The honorable mention I wanted to give is Pelagius, who's a cavalry commander who has charge talents that I think is really quite exceptional in that capacity. Up next is Rallying Cities, and the commander that we gave a B and was the highest commander that we gave a rating to for an epic is Osman. Osman does big, big damage to a single target. That is the thing that they specialize in. They also have the right talents for rallying stuff. They've got the conquering tree, the skill tree, and the leadership tree, which I think are really, really exceptional. I love putting extra rage generation on this commander so that their attack goes off more frequently, getting big, big damage in. I think that Osman is a good choice for rallying cities. However, if you're rallying a city, why isn't it a player who's got legendaries that are nearly maxed? Right? Like, why are we rallying cities if we don't have nearly maxed legendary commanders? I'll ask that question. I'll let you think about that one. Um, the honorable mentions for rallying cities include Scipio and Baibars. Scipio is good, but really is more kitted out for being able to take damage from multiple sources. They elevate your counterattack, which is nice. And when they get really, really low, they can start healing. But if you get really, really low when you're hitting a city, you got a problem. You're going to have a lot of dead troops. The other commander who gets an honorable mention here is Baibars, who does benefit from hitting cities. The only problem is that, the next skill over becomes irrelevant. So while you get a nice, nice benefit here, a nice, nice benefit, reducing the attack and defense of a garrison, they lose out on their fourth skill having any value whatsoever, and the march speed is totally irrelevant. The AoE can be nice for hitting stragglers, but I'd say Osman is pretty squarely in the lead for the epic commanders for rallying cities. Now, when we talk about rallying objectives and defending objectives, once again, I'm going to tilt my head and look at you and say, are you really the person who should be doing that if you're at the epic tier? But sometimes even high power players are using epic commanders, and this is especially true in Ark of Osiris. And so, in that case, my recommendation to you as the number one epic for um, defending and rallying objectives is actually Ulji Mundok. That's right, my friends. If you can get full infantry and rock Ulji Mundok, you're in a really good position. I love Effortless. He's the only epic commander that has this. Lord of War is great. The rage gen is good from Burning Blood. Fill in with infantry, bring full infantry to the battle, and I think you're in a really good place. Now, full infantry, if you didn't have full infantry, I think that a next choice would be Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu is really exceptional for structure, defense, and rallying objectives because he's going to be hitting a lot of units. That's going to generate a lot of rage. If you're defending, especially, you're getting swarmed in Ark of Osiris. That can be incredibly valuable. And it's worth calling attention to the fact that Sun Tzu really doesn't care all that much about bringing infantry. He's got a 10% infantry health bonus, but the rest of his skills don't really matter for that. I think Sun Tzu is a great choice for a secondary, and if you had him as a primary, then that would be fine. Not amazing, but fine. One final honorable mention for rallying and defending objectives is actually Joan of Arc. Once again, buffing all the different types of troops that you're going to have in the defense or the attack, anyways, granting a lot of rage. Here we've got some single target abilities, healing when you're hitting a single target, and your normal attack damage elevated. I think these are pretty good, and especially if you're the one doing the swarming, then this 30% stat boost to a bunch of different units in the rage gen is really quite exceptional. Joan of Arc really unique in that she benefits your allies a whole heck of a lot. But if this was just going to be a one-on-one rally where it's only these commanders, probably not the choice you would make. But if you know there's other armies that are going to be nearby, really quite good. My friends, that is the epic tier list. When more epic commanders come out, we are going to rank them here. What did you think of these rankings? I know they're not perfect, but I feel like they're directionally correct. And you can sort of compare them with the legendaries. I would say generally the legendaries are better, and maybe some of these commanders like Baibars, like maybe I overrated him at B+ in the open field. But here's the thing. Put Baibars in the lead, use the charge talents, and you can actually get away from combat. And all you have to do is get out of combat temporarily, and then fourth skill kicks in, and you're really hauling it out of there. I feel like he actually maybe deserves that B+. Anyways, like, subscribe, share this video with your friends if you think it was helpful, and until next time, my friends, you have fun smashing the kingdom.